All right, we're going to call this meeting of the best Rotary Club to order. We are starting out. Phil, we have an invocation, or wait a minute. Yep, Phil.
We do have an invocation. Bow your heads. Lord, we give thanks for this meal, for friendship, and the opportunity to serve our community. May our words and actions reflect kindness, wisdom, and the Rotary ideal of service above self. Amen.
And a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And Phil, do we have a song?
We do have a song. I thought with all of the politics going on around these days, that we would sing God Bless America. God bless America.
All right, thank you. All right, do we have any visiting Rotarians? Whoop, we got one over here.
I'll introduce myself. State Representative Sam Lowe. I'm a member of the Lake Stevens Rotary Club, and it's good to be back today.
Welcome, Sam. And do we have any guests? We got Niall.
I invited Niall because we came up with a kind of an idea at the auction, which we'll get to someday, but for the upcoming auction, Rotary auction. So Niall's going to be connected to that. So welcome, Niall.
All right. Moving into club business and announcements. So those of us that braved the Halloween weather, we handed out about 50 pounds of candy. Some people just huddled under a blankie and handed out little pieces of candy, Ruth and Tiffany. But I had a lot of little goblins and gremlins come by, and I weighed the big bin of candy that I had, and it was right at about 45 pounds. And then Ellen brought another bag, so I'm going to say it was about 50 pounds. It was a good time, but we were happy to get the hell out of there after about 45 minutes of handing out candy, because it was cold and nasty. Let's see, we had a auction kickoff meeting on Tuesday. And Ruth, did you want to say anything about that, or do we want to leave it at that and wait till the next?
Well, you know, I never turned down an opportunity to get on the mic, President Tucker. So we had a kickoff meeting on election night. It was great. We had quite a few people. I was honestly expecting it to just be Lynn and I. So it was great for the folks who made it. I really appreciate it. So on, is it November 20th?
Yes.
So not next week, but the week after,
Yep.
Is that right? We'll be having an auction meeting as part of our weekly luncheon rotation. And we're going to do that every month until the auction, except for December, since we have the kidlings here from the music programs in December, so we won't bore them to tears. So if possible, if you are a committee chair I'd like you to make sure that you're there at each meeting because you will be leading the charge for your committee. Some weeks we'll be dividing up and having kind of quasi committee meetings, work parties toward the, as we get closer. We just think it is better if we have many hands doing a lot of the work, a lot of the thinking, a lot of the ideas, instead of just a few of us huddled up once a month. So hopefully that works better. We really do need all hands on deck, and we really want this to be more of a camaraderie type of situation as well. When you're working with your teams, it's a really good chance to do really great things for our community and get to know one another. And to me, when I was a young Rotarian just a few years back, that was one of my favorite things, was getting to know a lot of the people in this room. And you get to know people when you work on projects together, when you are sitting together at lunch, but it's really fun to do work together for the community.
All right. And then the next thing on my list is we still have, I haven't gotten a firm date from Nathan on when we want to do some tree planting up at Olmsted Park. But as soon as I find a date from him or some dates that'll work, I'll put that out. Hopefully we'll get a date that's some decent weather. And our Christmas party coming up December 5th. The sign up list went around. If you can let somebody know, me or Becky Eldey, if you are going to come or aren't going to come, if you've already signed up on the list, we'll have it. But if you're definitely not going to come, it'd be kind of nice to know so we can start finding you as soon as we get a little closer. And finally, for everybody that was involved in the local political scene, running for offices, putting up signs, jumping through hoops, doing all the work that you do, no matter how things turned out, thank you. I know it's a lot of work, and Doug Wood told me this years ago, as soon as you run for office, half the people don't like you anymore. And I'm thinking it might be more than half. Some of them just don't like you because you ran for office. Doesn't matter what you were for, why you were there. But that's just got to be a lot of work, and we do appreciate it. And then that's it for any announcements I had. Do we have any announcements from the floor? Hearing none, we're moving on, and it looks like we have rafflers ready to raffle.
Okay. All right. First number, it's a white one. It starts with an N. 32.
Boy, if you'd have been about 5 minutes later.
Winner chooses a table to pay $2. Yeah, we're trying to raise money. Now it says $2. It doesn't say $2 per, but I assume that's the not total. G56. Five, 6. Wine. There you go. Want to do 3 or 4? 4. All right. 21. I-21. You remember being 21? I don't.
That was an angry spin.
I'll bet you we won. Get it to stop. You called it. I think it's the same wine that. All of that effort to, I know, the exact same spot.
Yeah, let's get one more in there.
All right, and last but not least, 30. There's a shed, a sparkling white. Box. All right, that's what.
All right, and Yulia, you're up with Sergeant at Arms time.
Here you go.
Thank you. All right. Well, you all know my passion for anniversaries. So guess what? You get some anniversary related questions. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables. I'm going to start with this one. Well, here's your warm-up. Which anniversary is often referred to as a 10th anniversary, even though it doesn't really happen very often? 10th anniversary. How many years do people get to be married before they have a 10th anniversary? Oh, and yes, Carl and Sheena, if you could kindly help me with the money, please. Thank you. So, good guess. Yes, good guess. Just, yeah, 10 years difference. 10-year anniversary is a 10th anniversary. Yeah. Well, you have another question. So it's $1 each, and you have another question. You need to figure out who was the author of this quote. Who is being associated with this quote? My most brilliant achievement was my ability to be able to persuade my wife to marry me. Who may have said that? Winston Churchill is the answer. Thank you. And table 2. All right. Well, your anniversary is much easier, maybe. 5 years, when people are married 5 years, what is the anniversary? Nickel, paper. You know, paper could be somewhere in that realm. It's wood. It's wood. And your quote, to guess who the author is, marriage is an alliance entered into by a man who can't sleep with the window shut and a woman who can't sleep with the window open. Who may have said something like that? Marriage is an alliance entered into by a man who can't sleep with the window shut and a woman who can't sleep with the window open. Guesses? Any guesses? Well, it would be Carl Garrison, but hey, but George Bernard Shaw. Table number 3. Yeah, moving on. So your anniversary is really easy. You guys can't blow this one. Gold anniversary. How many years? 50. You're correct. Yay, we've got one. Well, let's find you a quote. Who may have said that? We always hold hands. If I let go, she shops. Very close. Henny Youngman. Henny Youngman. right, we've got, hey, you guys can't blow this one. 80 years. What's that anniversary? If we ever, any of us ever gets to that, 80 years, what do they call that anniversary? Close, very close. It's called Oak. I didn't know that either. Oak anniversary, 80 years. I don't know. That's really special. For sure. Give me money. And one more question. If love is blind, why is lingerie so popular? If love is blind, why is lingerie so popular? Guesses? You didn't say that, right? No, I'm thinking. Well, that was Dorothy Parker. And well, you guys get kind of an easy one as well. Let's give you iron anniversary. How many years? Iron anniversary. We didn't even know that they have all of these things, right? Until we get there, we are not there. There's a hint. Go ahead. 60 was diamond. So 70 it is. Oh. A marriage anniversary is the celebration of love, trust, partnership, tolerance, and tenacity. The order varies for any given year. Paul Sweeney. Thank you, guys. Oh, happy bucks. Yes.
Yes, happy
Thank you.
bucks.
There you go. Hello, everybody. I got some happy bucks. You'll probably see there's flyers on your tables. Our office is hosting an event this Saturday at the local shop here in Sedro Woolley on Main Street. It says client appreciation party, but it's actually for all of our friends and family that support our business, and that's all of you, so you're all welcome. There's going to be some great prizes to win, and we're also doing a coat drive, so stop on by and say hi. And it's 4 to 8, so if you go to the Cubs game, there's still plenty of time afterwards to come see us.
Hi. Thank you.
My happy bucks are, I finished my bachelor's degree. I spent 15 months doing that online after being out of high school for 30 some years. It's that long ago it took me. But the reason I'm happy about that is I was able to take advantage of Janiki's tuition assistance program. So I had some financial support doing that. So, which I also had when I went to Skagit. Hagen gave me some financial assistance for that. So I really applaud employers that are investing in their employees like that. So that's why I'm happy.
Awesome. That's a good reason to be happy for sure. Thank you. And anyone else happy?
All right, Mike, I'm here. Yeah, I got a happy few bucks. A friend of mine, some of you might know, Cheryl Brew had brain surgery on Monday. She had a tumor in the back of her brain. She's home now. She's recovering quite well. She has her movement, a little bit of memory loss, but she's home recovering very strongly. So we're happy for that.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Good one.
Well, I got a happy buck, actually 20. Number one, the election's over, and I will echo Lynn's sentiment that elections are a lot of work. Spent all day yesterday afternoon running around picking signs up. As you know, my wife was, well, she will continue her work on the school board and she's thrilled to do that. And we wanted to say thank you to everybody who supported her. And if you see signs out there somewhere that we've missed, please just send me a text and let me know where they're at so we can go get them. But thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, who was next? There was someone else.
For $2, Julia, if you pay $2, I won't tell the cookie story.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Way to make money. When to, yeah. You can tell the story. You know, one thing about being kind of, you know, wearing your heart on the sleeve, you don't really have much to hide, so it's easy. Go ahead. So Carl, you want the microphone?
Okay, John, we'll take that $20. So last night, I've had these cookies, frozen cookie dough in the freezer for almost a year. There you go. Yeah. And so I decided to bake some cookies last night. So I got them out. Yeah. And so I thought, well, I'm going to be dutiful and get rid of these cookies. And so I baked up a sheet of 12 cookies. And they came out absolutely perfect on the stone, you know, the flat stone thing. And I was enjoying 3 of these little, they were small. In all fairness, they were kind of small. And I had 3 of them and they were just absolutely delicious. And I was enjoying that. And Yulia has, for our whole relationship, she said, I don't like cookies. And I'm thinking, well, this is really cool. I got 12 cookies to enjoy over the next few days. So then she kind of walking around and she ends up in bed. And then I'm ready to go in and clean up and wash my dish. And I look and this cookie platter thing is devastated. There was 12 to start with, and there was 3 that I ate. And I get in there and there's 2 left. And I'm like, wait a minute. Somebody was enjoying cookies last night and she doesn't even like them.
It's just bad math on your part. Well, I never thought of myself as a cookie monster, but there we go. When they're warm out of the oven, even at 10 o'clock, I was tempted.
So this is a harsh reality, $5 right here. My husband and I, we're dealing with a lot of things, and tomorrow the Supreme Court is going to be having a meeting to possibly overturn the Obergefell decision that makes my marriage legal in all 50 states. So cherish what you've got, people. Cherish your marriages, cherish what you have, because who knows, mine may not be around next year. So next summer we met 24 years ago next July. So that's our reality. That's what we're dealing with, and all the financial repercussions of that. So anniversaries are great, but I sure hope that I can have mine after this.
Thank you so much, David.
All right, I've got a 10.
Hey, someone's
I
happy.
have this afternoon, this ugly rainy afternoon, I have a fire laid in my shop. It's ready to light. I've got Vince coming out to do a little knife making this afternoon, and looking forward to a happy afternoon. And you counted all of his fingers, right, Ruth, before there? All the, and no flammable clothing, right? We don't want to catch any shoes or jackets on fire. There we go. I'm going to have Phil come up and introduce our speaker. If you've got to leave early, make sure you pay up, but I don't think anybody's going to want to leave early. And Phil, it's up to you.
Thanks, Len. Well, our speaker today needs no introduction, really. It's Rich Weyrich. He's going to talk about the prosecutor's office. But I did ask ChatGPT to give me a little intro for Rich. And this is what it came up with. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. It is my pleasure to introduce Richard Weyrich, the prosecuting attorney for Skagit County. Richard has served in this role since 1998, leading with integrity, fairness, and a deep commitment to justice. Over the years, he's built strong partnerships with law enforcement, schools, and community organizations, always focused on keeping our community safe and thriving. I asked the ChatGPT, the AI, what his most famous case was. Here's what it came up with. Today, Richard will be sharing with us the role of the prosecutor's office and how it serves our community, and how justice is upheld, and how the office works behind the scenes to ensure our county remains a fair and safe place to live. One of the most significant cases Richard led was the prosecution of the couple in the State versus Williams matter. Remember that one? A husband and wife who adopted 2 children from Ethiopia and subjected them to extreme abuse. Over the course of the multi-week trial, one of the longest in Skagit County history, Richard and his team showed the depth and the office's resolve to seek justice for vulnerable victims. Rich, you're on.
Thank you. Nobody's called me Richard in a long time, so I don't know who wrote that. Yeah, I don't know. Never been on that, but thank you for being here. And I want to tell you a little bit about the prosecutor's office, what we're doing. First of all, what most people think about is we prosecute criminals and do those sort of things and work with law enforcement, and that's half of what we do. The other half is I have a civil side of the department that does all the planning, public works, all the things that go on out in the community that you may read about. So I've got about 8 lawyers that do that and do a very good job for the community. But most people don't think that's very, very interesting. So we can talk about crime a little bit. If I can figure out how to run this thing. Just a little background of what we mainly do is we talk about trials, because that's big part of what we do. Everyone has a right to go to trial if you're accused of a crime. You have a right to be decided upon by a jury of your peers, and the state has to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. The defendant has a presumption of innocence, which we have to overcome. And most of the time, we're able to do that. If they're not unanimous, that jury, then we can retry it. That's a hung jury. Sometimes the judges actually try the cases, not very often in criminal cases. But the jury finds for the facts, and the judge gives makes rulings on whether or not someone is some evidence should get in, and so on and so forth. And that's just a little background to what we do as far as, or what the system is. Now, frankly, right at the present time, prosecutors and most of law enforcement is not really very happy with the state of the judicial system. And I want to point out that Representative Lowe and Senator Wagner have been some of the bigger supporters of law enforcement and the prosecutors in this state. So hands up to them. One of the things that we can't do anymore, we can't talk to juveniles. We can't even talk to witnesses who witnessed a crime. The police have to go to take the juvenile, have him call a lawyer who's a public defender and say, do you want to talk? You shouldn't talk to these people. So if you remember, there was a homicide down in Seattle, I think it was last year, and there was lots of students around that were witnesses. The crime has never been solved. The police couldn't talk to any of the kids that were at the school, not even anybody. They weren't suspects. They just might've seen something. They couldn't talk to them. So the crime remains unsolved. One of my pet peeves is there's a group called the Office of Independent Investigations, which investigates police shootings. It costs about $40 million a year of your tax money. We have right here in Skagit County a group called the SMART Team that does a wonderful job of investigating them. They're away from their, we don't, in fact, I think Phil is on the civilian board that oversees them. And so it's just money that goes down the drain. If it happened in, like, we had one in Sedro Woolley several years ago, Sedro Woolley police stay out of it. This team comes in that are all the police officers and experts from Island and Skagit County, and they do the investigation. They did a very fine job. One of my pet peeves is we're getting to the point where there aren't any consequences. You can do something, there just aren't any consequences to it. There's no fines anymore. We can't fine anybody because they don't have any money. So that's the thing. There's no warrants for children. And I'll give you, in certain kind of cases, real serious cases, yes, but cases we're trying to get these kids back in line, and we had a young boy, I think he was 14 or 15, called into the court 2 weeks in a row and said, "I'm sorry, I can't come to court. I'm too hungover." And we could not do anything about that. And to me, that's just wrong. And that's sending a bad message out there in the community. Treatment courts have gotten away from it being a privilege to serve in a treatment court. Now, we have to make sure we're trying to help people. We're trying to get them off drugs, get them off alcohol, help them mental health wise. But we have to make sure they have all their rights. And I worked in the system when it was a little different, and we had a lot more success several years ago. Now it's changed around. We can't do that. The Supreme Court has now makes us bring the person that we filed charges against in three days instead of the 14. That again was brought on by King County, who is responsible for a lot of these things. And it puts a great strain on the system here, and in some of the even smaller counties, a much greater strain. The other thing is we let people back on the street. There's a presumption you should be released if you're not a danger to the community, or you'll flee. We have people who have failed to show up 20, 30, 40 times. Well, he'll come this time. Just give him one more chance, Judge. And that's kind of where we're at. We don't hold anybody in custody anymore. But the odd thing about that is we can talk to people that are in that courtroom. We all know most of the defendants that come through there. And everyone in the courtroom, from the public defender, the judge, the clerks, they know we're going to let this person out, and what's he going to do, or she's going to do? She's immediately going to go out and start using drugs again. Just immediately. And what are they going to do to get their drugs? They're going to commit a crime. And it's an endless circle. We don't get a chance to give them the help that they need. You know, what I saw when I was doing drug court for many years is the people that we were able to hold for 30, 60 days, their mind gets a little clearer, and all of a sudden, treatment doesn't sound like a bad thing. Getting my family back doesn't sound like a bad thing. Getting a job doesn't sound like a bad thing. That's not the case. That's not what we're running into anymore. No, speak there, but I can't. That's not. Yeah. One of the things that we do, we make the charging decisions. It's the prosecutor's job, and we have the final say in whether somebody's charged with something and what it is. You see on TV, people talk about well, I want to press charges. Sure, they can give a recommendation. They can tell us something, but it's really up to us. It's not the police. People say, they again make recommendations, but where it falls on is on us. Now, one of the things that's becoming a big deal in the criminal justice system is the state bar and the Supreme Court have now adopted a new set of rules for public defenders where they can only handle 47 cases, down from 150. The head of the public defenders here came to a board of commissioners meeting with myself and a number of other people and said, well, I have 20 lawyers now. I need 25 more. And I also need 15 investigators. And I need 13 psychologists to tell you why you should give my client a good deal or why you shouldn't charge him and that sort of thing. And it's a budget buster all across the state. As you can see up there, our state pays, I think, about 5% of the county's public defender expenses. Most states are in the 40 to 60% range. So that's become a really big problem now. Some places, especially in Eastern Washington, judges are being forced to dismiss cases because there isn't enough public defenders because of these new rules. One of the things that we see, and I just want to talk about one case, it's retail theft, shoplifting is what it is, and there's lots and lots of it. But this was an interesting case, and one of my lawyers, Julia Dunlap, took it on and just doggedly pursued it. Burlington caught an individual selling a counterfeit iPad. We did a search warrant. They found all these things that are listed on there. He had 50 or 60 fake iPads and so on and so forth. She followed it up and kept checking. And he had warrants in Idaho, Tennessee, Kentucky, Massachusetts. They finally figured it out. He had stolen about $5 million from exclusively Target. I don't know why he picked Target, but it was Target all the way across the country. We got some pleas out of him in the federal government. The feds took it on, and he's gone away for a long time now. But it's a terrible problem out there, the retail theft. Now, over the last 2 years, I just thought it'd be interesting, the kinds of cases that we are seeing. These are just the ones that we're able to charge. These are not necessarily cases. There's a lot more that happen, but these are the ones. The assaults. You can see I'm not going to go through all the numbers, and you can certainly ask me a question about it, but these are what we are faced with on a daily basis. We handle about 5,000 cases a year. Now, this is a case, and one of the things that has been developed over the last several years is everybody has a camera now. And so we get a lot of help. City of Mount Vernon has traffic cameras everywhere, and we solved one case after another with the help of those traffic cameras. This is a case that I tried several months ago, 6 months ago, I suppose. And this is a video of something that, had they not had cameras, we might not have been able to solve this case. And so I want you to watch this, and I'll kind of describe a little bit what's going on. This is at the Riverside Lanes in Mount Vernon. This is the south side of the building where the entrance is, and so on and so forth, in the parking lot. These individuals, you can see at the top of the screen, are going to be my victims. And how do I make that run? And they're walking out, and there's been a little scuffle inside Riverside Lanes. Nobody knows, and we still don't know why that happened, what the scuffle was over. But this thing, you'll see the two people get out of the white car. We had video of the other side when they came around, and they're kind of still scuffling out there. And one guy's a little bigger, and as it goes on, the scuffle continues. And I'm just going to let you watch it for a second because I'm going to wait to see for what your reactions are. There's two groups of people there. And they may have known each other. We're not even sure about that. These people down in front, they're just getting in their car ready to leave. These other guys up in the top are kind of jawing with each other. You'll see a little shoving and pushing. But it still doesn't appear to be much, that there's much going on. You know, really, it's just a bunch of kids. They're in their 20s. Through a few fists are thrown. And one guy is quite a bit bigger than all the rest of them. And you'll see the fellow in the white, he'll come back down here. He's one of the victims in the case. And there's a fight, the big guy on the right, and then the guy that ends up being the defendant is walking back to the car. He's getting in the car, even though he's the driver of the car. He gets in on that side of the car as the other two individuals are leaving. Now you watch him as he comes down here. He's with his friend. His friend is trying to hold him back. Not having much luck. Two more people are leaving. So he finally gets away, comes down here. And he shoots both of them. The other two white cars decide to leave. Now he goes back in and puts something back in the car. We have to assume that that was the gun that he just used to shoot these two people. They're not seriously injured by the gun, but both of them were struck by bullets. And they are then on their way to go get in their car to go to the hospital when that happens. And I kind of got the response that I've got every time I've shown this video. And if I could just pause for a moment, because the interesting thing is, and I did not expect this to happen, but Phil Brockman ended up on the jury, ended up the foreman of the jury. And so I'm going to let him just give you a little perspective of what they saw.
Thanks, Rich. Yeah, so a lot of people, raise your hand if you've ever been on a jury in that process. You sit in the big room and the judge talks to you. And so I selected, we were on the jury. I've watched this video probably 50 times. It was almost a month-long trial and attempted murder trial. And what was interesting to me seeing, and I'll let you talk about what the final outcome was here. What was interesting to me was being on the jury was the diversity of thought around when we were talking about what happened, whether we thought things, he was guilty or not guilty, and whether it was attempted murder or assault or whatever. But it was the diversity of thought on this jury, and we deliberated 3 or 4 days, something like that, trying to get to an agreement, consensus around this trial. And it's pretty difficult to do that. And I'll just say the attempted murder charge for shooting was, we couldn't come to agreement with that. And it was a we were hung jury on that one. But the jury did convict him of attempted murder with the car. Just interesting to me how that worked out. So is that what you wanted?
Just whatever your thoughts were. So that's, one of the things that we have now that we didn't have. We have video all the time, every place. And so that's been very helpful. I'm sorry. He recovered remarkably well. He was in Harborview for a while, but he recovered pretty well. Next thing, one of our big problems, probably 90% of the cases are somehow one way or another are associated with drugs. We have an attorney who is dedicated to controlled substance homicide. In other words, giving someone drugs that kill them. Skagit County, and Tricia Johnson's her name, has got more convictions than any county in the state of Washington. We're about 10 convictions ahead of King County, but she's got more than anybody around. She's got 3 convictions this year, and they're not easy cases to prove. She's got 4 more pending. These are the drug task force. You can kind of see what they brought 148 felony charges in 2025. 10,000 grams of methamphetamine, 41,000 fentanyl pills, 116,000 last year, and over $100,000. And they do a really good job. They're up and down the coast working with the DEA and so on and so forth. And I'm going to show you some pictures here. This is fentanyl. They call that nodding, the fellow up on the top left. That's very common for law enforcement to see that. He's just sitting there and he's used some sort of drugs, and it's very common to see that out on the street. In the middle, that's fentanyl pills. On the right is I can't remember how many pounds, but it was a huge amount of methamphetamine that they seized. These are fentanyl pills that are packaged up to sell to smaller dealers. Again, that's a kilogram of fentanyl powder. And again, down there, that was seized in Sedro Woolley. And then there's more methamphetamine down on the right. This is from another seizure. I can't remember where this was, but there was guns there, methamphetamine, etc. This was another one where they were all these guns. Most of them were at least semi-automatic guns that were being used, or not being used, but have been possessed by drug dealers. So we're trying to make a difference out on the street. Once we take care of, if we convict people, they're put on perhaps probation with the Department of Corrections or the probation department in Skagit County. They can or put them into treatment programs, but 1, money's short. 2, they do not want to go into them, and we're not very good at forcing them to stay in them or giving some sanctions if they don't stay in them. So we have victims out there. Talks a lot about criminals, but for every criminal, there's victims. And the state, again, I thank Representative Lowe and Wagner for not following this, but they want to lower the penalties on all these people that are out there. They want to focus their resources on defendants, and they don't want to hold them accountable. I always kind of say, it's kind of like, well, he didn't get a wagon at Christmas, so we should let him out. And that's just how we feel. We have victim advocates that work with all the victims that come into the office. They make contact with them. They figure out the restitution. If it's an assaultive type thing, they go to court with them. They stay in contact with them and try to work them through the system. They figure out the restitution. We don't collect much of it. And the court doesn't go about trying to make them collect it. If we get 5% of the restitution that's ordered by the court, I'd be surprised. But we do try to work through them. We try to make it as easy as possible. We have to meet with all the victims. So that's one of the things that's not all that much fun. I have to meet with a family of a murder victim tomorrow afternoon, and it's not all that easy. So thank you for all your support that everybody gives law enforcement and our office throughout the county. If anybody has any questions, I'll do the best I can to answer them. David. Yeah. Thank you, David. Carl. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm not sure I've seen a decrease in supply. What I've seen is a changing of the kind of drugs that we see. Now there's carfentanil, which is 100 times more powerful than fentanyl coming in. We try to help slow the coming down. Whether or not you're going to, if you can't get people to not want them, there's always going to be somebody that's willing to take the risk to bring them in to make money. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Rich. Anybody ask why I retired? Yeah. Want to thank Niall for being here today. And we want to thank Sam for being here today. Picked a good day. Show up. Thank you, Rich. That was a good presentation. We appreciate it. And if there's nothing else, we are adjourned, and let's put away our tables and chairs.